Go.
Again, 5, 4, 3.
Call to me, lands far away.
Elves have forests to protect.
We need to build a wall.
Dwarfs their mines. Mend their fields of grain. But we Harfoots have each other.
For I must now wander this wandering day.
We're safe.
You have fought long enough, Galadriel.
No.
Put up your sword.
The enemy is still out there. The question now is where?
It is over.
Nothing is over! Nothing! You were the chosen one! It was said that you would destroy the Sith, not join them!
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
Darkness will march over the face of the earth. It will be the end, not just of our people, but all peoples.
Everyone!
I am sorry, but their time has come.
The past is with us all. The past is dead. We either move forward or we die with it.
This could be the beginning of a new era.
Away I must wander this wandering day.
To him finally being lionized in the prime and his prime. Fuck.
Do it!
Shit.
Just do it! Don't let your dreams change. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true!
Luke went from being... Oh, no. Welcome, Slayer Nation. I have some great news for you today. I hope you're all doing great. Nope, that didn't work. One more.
You have failed me for the last time.
Welcome, Slayer Nation. I hope...
If you're tired of starting over, stop giving up.
That is eating away at what you love in order for it to shine. And one man's vision is... Sometimes you don't have to make things better for them to be great again. You merely have to Okay. Hollywood continues to slow boil the culture and crazy. Well, right now, Spider-Man actor Andrew Garfield has stepped up and he's fighting motherfucker.
I can't do it. Okay. We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live. Fuck it.
And unbearded dwarves, but Prime didn't stop there. They stapled in intersectionality, individuality, biddiga-dig-bee, biddiga-dig-boo.
So it begins.
At my signal, unleash hell.
swing.
What's going on, everybody? We're back, and we're live from the great state of Texas, where our storms are big. But damn, I got to tell you, Harry and Meghan scandals are bigger. It's so good to be here today. You know, it's been, I was thinking about it. It's 2 months since we did our last Meghan's live stream. And we have an amazing show for you. We have 3 fantastic guests who are going to help us break down all the latest news from the husband formerly known as Prince and his bride. So let's get started, and let's bring them out here. We got baggage claim, Shaun Attwood, and Paula Matanovich. How you doing?
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good. Did you get your hands on Meghan's jam yet?
No. No. And what I just found out, what's funny today is that the news came out that Kris Jenner got hers last night. I'm like, it must have gone by donkey. You know, it's like she finally got her, her basket of lemons.
Carrier pigeon.
Yeah. It's good to have you back, Shaun. Great.
Yeah, I much prefer Highgrove organic strawberry preserve.
Completely understand. Paula, welcome. It's your first time here.
Thanks so very much for having me. Thanks so much. So much fun to be here. To see baggage claim and Shaun again.
Oh.
Paula, maybe you could make a preserve out of the papayas you grow on your land.
I actually do.
You do? That sounds delicious.
Yeah, but I don't do that packaging. I do something more modern, a little bit more modern. You have to in tropical countries, so yeah, but I haven't received my jam. I'm a little bit hurt about that.
You're disappointed?
Yeah.
It's like, but it's like, I was thinking, like, where would we begin today? I mean, there's just so much to discuss. We talk about the jam. We talk about the fact that Harry had a company house, send in his paperwork for his eco travel foundation, Travelist, and then state now he's in the U.S. I'm curious, Shaun, how are the people in the UK responding to that? I mean, I see in the papers, but I'm just curious, like, what do you hear?
Well, we got King Charles's alternative preserve sold out. Advertised on the Highgrove Gardens website, describes his strawberry preserve as bringing the taste of summer to your palate and quintessentially English. A mouth-watering combination of plump white strawberries and tangy lemon. It's perfect paired with cream or butter on warm scones, or as a filling for a classic Victoria sponge. Carefully cooked by hand in small batches to an original Highgrove recipe, the strawberry jam is bursting with fruity flavors, much preferred over the Riviera orchard.
So it's like reminding everybody, this is England, this is the UK, this is what we prefer. But what has people's reactions been to Harry's residence, that they found out that he's now making it in America and that he released that info?
I think they're relieved over here, to be honest.
Really?
That that he's more out of the loop than ever, because he's so ostracized and so despised because of everything that's happened. I mean, I'm reading Lady C's book right now. I am 7 hours into the audiobook. I am reading the revised notes on the Kindle.
Okay.
And she just describes how, they had the world in their hands, but how they tried to overplay the race card, how they've tried to overplay monetizing the royal family, capitalizing on Queen Elizabeth's name, and on and on and on it goes. How they've gone from Harry being the most popular royal just so many years ago to now the British public are glad that he's officially domiciled in California.
Wow. I really thought it would be that's interesting, your take. I really thought it would have like a combination of relieved, but also insulted. Like, this is the person that we saw growing up since he was a child, but also someone that the taxpayers had footed the bill for. And all of a sudden it wasn't like, I love you all, this is where I'm going to be living now with my family, but this is my home, the place of my birth. Nothing. Like, baggage claim, what do you think?
I think that the fact that he picked the date, the termination date of his residence in the UK being the date that they were evicted out of Frogmore was an interesting little jab at his family. And I think that just confirms for everybody, even something like that, as catty as that, confirms for everybody that he isn't the man that they thought he was. So I think I completely agree with Shaun that were I, a citizen of the United Kingdom, I would feel the same way. Just good riddance. Yes, he was so incredibly popular, but look how much he took that gift of popularity, of love from the people, from your people, such a love that they had for him, and he just completely spat in their face every opportunity that he's had.
Yeah, I hear exactly what you're saying. Paula, you and I talked about that before, where it's like they had what baggage claim was just saying, to go on with Shaun, they had the world in the palm of their hand. Think of what they could have done. I mean, if they had solid character, if they weren't, fortune hunters looking for fame, if they would have just held on, touched a little bit of grass, they could have done some positive things in the world. How do you view it? Do you think that this is the turning point for Harry?
Well, you got to give it to Meghan. It takes certain type of skill to get a D-list actress to bring down an ultra A, because royals are not even A-listers, guys. They're ultra. I mean, so A-listers want to hang out with the royals to begin with. So Meghan Markle has a set of skills. This is like the guy from that goes and find the people to kill. He has a set of skills that manage to get the brand of an ultra A+ listed royal to bring him down to her level. Because Harry right now is another D-list that nobody wants around. I mean, he's become a joke. Before, people used to laugh at him, but she's managed to absolutely destroy the carefully crafted image that Buckingham Palace, sold to the public. Are we seeing the real Harry right now? Or because there must have been something in him that Meghan recognized because you picked your partner. He saw something in her and she saw something in him. Clearly he's an idiot, and she's exploiting that, but
Yeah, but Shaun, you were saying you were reading Lady C's book. Does she give more insight? I haven't read it yet.
On which aspect?
On
she
his
gives
character.
Tremendous. Yeah, she does give insight on his character. Talking about how popular he was, how he was a war hero, how he was in there with the troops, and only when they found out, the enemy found out, he had to be pulled out because he was going to be at risk to his troop fellows. But his bravery and how he's just, since Meghan's come along, it's just been completely turned around. But just to follow on from what Baggage Claim said, because I've got a quote here from a PR guru in the UK, Bukowski, on this residency thing. Here's what he says. There's an honesty about the declaration. It's fascinating. And I guess the story has become bigger because of the idea that somehow there is a residency issue and this declaration that America is now the home of the brand. None of this surprises me. I think that the endeavor that they've set out over a period of time is obviously to establish a commercial model. But sooner or later, they've got to get beyond the hype and all those negative headlines and establish a commercial vehicle. They cannot maintain their status and their lifestyle without having something that is getting them the type of money that they need to keep going out. So everything at the moment seems to be commercially biased. The deal with Netflix, they're giving them 3 projects. It's their last chance saloon. They're under the microscope, which makes it very difficult to succeed because there's more talk about failure than there is success. They need some success stories. All eyes will be on the commercial viability. And I think they're running out of opportunities here, George, don't you?
I do. I think you hit the nail right on the head. Baggage Claim, I think, will be right back. There we go. I think you hit the nail right on the head. It's so far we've gotten just one, I don't know what you call it, one hype train after the other. It's like, we're going to be coming out with this. And it started with, the Harry and Meghan Netflix show. Then it went to Spare. Then it was, we have amazing things coming. It's coming around the corner. We can't wait to tell you. It's Live to Lead. It's Invictus. But it's there's like no meat on the bones. I mean, do y'all agree with that? It's like one kind of like rebrand tour hype train after the other.
Yes, and I don't know if one of you brought this while I dropped off accidentally, but the same happened with the Lemonada. Is it called Lemonada? Is that the company,
Lemonada.
right?
Yeah, Lemonada podcast.
There was all this fanfare around this podcast being relaunched, and then it's the same. It's going by the wayside again, and it is like that. I think with someone like Meghan, who's so focused on just reaping the rewards versus actually putting in the work, everything is just a passing fancy. So if everything comes and goes, and before you know it, it's on to the next thing, and none of it yields anything. This is going to be the same thing with this American Riviera orchard, which was a half thought through launch, rushed so that she could have lots of attention at a time that her husband was presenting something for his mother's legacy. She's even competing with her own husband for attention, and I think it's doing a giant belly flop for that reason.
I agree with you. What do y'all think about it? I mean, I think she nailed it on the head. I think Baggage Queen nailed it right there, because we have, I didn't think about that perspective. She actually is competing against her own husband. I mean, when she's going to be putting out her cooking show, he's going to have supposedly the Polo series is coming out where he's supposed to cameo back and forth. But it's like every time he takes a step forward or goes with a charity, she's almost repeating the pattern that both of them did to the royal family. Whenever they would have an event, they would then, just look at a few weeks ago. You had Prince William with the Diana Legacy Awards, and boom, it's like, here's American ripoff coming at you. An hour before, we're going to have an award show, which is supposed to be honoring Harry's mother.
Well, Meghan has to set up a court, because it's my personal belief. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry if I'm going to be shouting, but I don't have my hearing things because people said that they couldn't hear me properly. So I'm going to do the way I do always. So I'm shouting because I can't hear myself. If you think Meghan, if you look at certain public events they've had, they barely can stand each other. Meghan is already in her how to dispose of this dim-witted ginger. That's Meghan's focus right now. So Meghan has to set up her own, she's desperate, this is my perception, to set up her own brand, to set up her own thing separate from Harry, because she needs to divorce this guy. It is my firm belief, George and guys, I don't know if you agree, that Meghan put Harry in an impossible situation when she left England. When she forced him, she basically told him, either you come with me or you stay with your family. This is why Harry broke down in tears and said, and I do believe the only true thing that I believe is that he really thought he was going to be half in, half out. He never thought he was going to be told, that's it. This is why he broke down in tears. And I think we're watching a worldwide tantrum being thrown because he didn't get his way. But I think Meghan said, and Meghan wasn't counting on Harry actually following her. She thought, I'm going to go and then I'm going to accuse him of being a racist along with his family, because God knows he wore that uniform. And I'm going to be the victim here. And we have the BLM thing, and I'm going to be the princess, and they're not going to take away the titles because of the racism thing. And now the idiot followed her. So that, I think he crashed her plan. And now she's been on disposable mode, because you see her. When she does her events, she doesn't want him around. But when he does his events, she's always there with him because her events failed.
Yeah.
Court. She needs to set up her own court as soon as possible. And I think we're watching Meghan on her last legs trying to make that happen. I mean, I could be wrong.
Yeah, no, but I see what you're saying. It's when you talked about that kind of like the light bulb went off. You saw that. I don't know if y'all saw that clip of when they did the polo last week. He was getting the award, and that woman came up to him and wanted to be on his right side, and Meghan went to pull her go over here, go over here. It's like she always has to be in the center of attention. So that comes, I guess, to the core of the question, because otherwise we're just going through the news. What is it about them? Is it their character combined with their actions? What is it that turns people off? It's anybody.
For me, it's the lies. It's the lies, absolute lies. You know what? I don't know about you, but I think you and I are the same in that way, George. I am so much anti-bullying or anti-abuse to anybody. And to see that woman be given a platform, and she has magnified, amplified her character onto everybody. She has destroyed, created division, not only on her side of the family, on the father that gave her everything. I mean, I wish well, no, my dad was cool. I shouldn't say that, but a lot of people wish they had a father like Mr. Markle, you know, who has his faults, but the way she treated her father, whom she praised until June 19th, 2016, this woman has caused so much division and has used the platform, because the royal family platform is worldwide, guys, to destroy people and just to fill her CV. The lemonada is already on her CV. She's destroyed people just to fill out her CV, to make herself feel important. That's just my opinion. I don't like that. And she's using a royal title, by the way, doing all of that.
So it's not just the lies, it's the burning through the people. And not only has she burned through people as a careerist, she's burned through two families, the royal family and her own family. We had Thomas Markle Jr. on the channel on Friday, and you know, he's always hilarious, cracking jokes, and he did this parody stuff, and they're trying to cancel him. But I was almost in tears when he broke down and he said about his father's stroke and what he was going through for the past few years to support their dad, and Meghan was just making things worse. It's horrific, you know, to burn someone in business that you barely know is one thing, right, but to burn your family is entirely another thing. That's pure evil.
Yeah, and you cover that. That's the thing is you've covered. I mean, I love your channel. I don't know how many people here know, but Shaun has written, what's it, 21, 23 books?
17.
I thought it was 21 when I
I'm getting there.
17
you know what? Well, online it's
70 or 17.
17. That's two of them.
17. But you've covered like gangsters. You've covered like gangsters, prison. I mean, you're talking. And when you say this is evil, that's got a lot of weight to it. But I think that's what it is. So that's why I look at it like no amount of marketing, no amount of hype can get past their core characters. Like you cannot cover that up. You can't change it. That they are who they are, unless they have like, you know, a come to Jesus moment and they all of a sudden see the light. It doesn't matter what they do, because we've seen actors, celebrities, rock stars go through their moments. They go through a moment, they go bad, and then they get through it. But these guys just keep digging.
And the fact, you know what it is too, for me, because I'm Canadian. So the monarchy, the British monarchy, the monarch is the head of state of Canada. So Meghan Markle, as I've said in many times, she's writing to Congress. Yes, she's an American. I know what you guys are going to say. She's an American, but she didn't write to Congress as Rachel Meghan Markle, American citizen. She wrote from the office of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex and signed off as the Duchess of Sussex. So she was calling senators on their private phone number. That's stalking. And that actually is illegal, because those numbers, I believe, are confidential. So she managed to get those two numbers, and she's cold calling senators, and then she doesn't give her number. I mean, and she doesn't call like, hello, this is Meghan Markle, because they probably don't know who she is. She says, this is the Duchess of Sussex. That's how she identifies herself. So she's basically, and look at Harry, what he did in Vancouver, was it British Columbia, that he talked to the chief native on behalf of the royal family, that where he said that he was going to come back next year with solutions on behalf of the royal family. He's a dim-witted ginger. What is he talking? He's no longer a royal. And those are very sensitive cultural issues. Harry's sitting on a bench advocating for voting for, and very clearly a political party. You know, he's a royal from another country. He should shut up, you know, but he can cause a diplomatic, this thing with the visa, this will cause a diplomatic incident.
Yeah, I think about that visa. It's like right now, as long as you have the current administration in the United States, he has nothing to worry about. But I really think, I said it in a video, I think it was 2 videos or 3 videos back, where I did research. It's like I went and spoke to a couple of attorneys and did some digging online. And I was like, what type of visas have historically members of the royal family received when they've come to the US for whatever trip? And they go through the variations, which are kind of like the diplomatic passports, but they're like, typically if someone's going to stay for more than a month, they get what's called an A1 head of state visa. They don't have all the same immunities, but it has certain privileges. Now, those have changed over time. So I said, when I was doing the video, I was like, I think I'm 90% sure that this is most likely what he has. And I think that's why they've been fighting so hard for it not to be released. Because I found an exception that certain members of the family who've had an A1 head of state visa have had their security tab partially picked up by the US government. And I think there's little perks and privileges if they're proven to be true, that when they come out, I think that's going to blow the lid open. And of course, you have Trump, who's already said, he goes, if I win, he's gone.
I mean,
Especially
what do you
after
think
all
of
their
that
meddling.
claim?
What is it? I'm
Sorry?
sorry.
What do you think of Harry's visa? Do you think that could cause a diplomatic thing? Because right now, I believe that DHS has clapped back because Heritage Foundation submitted that interview with the U.S. ambassador, where she said he has nothing to worry about, and the Heritage Foundation submitted that because that's basically bias and that's illegal.
Yes.
And then they clapped back saying, no, that was under Trump. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think the biggest problem America is going through right now is that it's becoming more and more obvious how deep the state is, where our laws are being improperly, it's like laws for you and me, but not for people like Prince Harry. And I think that as long as the Democratic side is in power, they're going to try to hide that as much as possible. But to be honest, even if a Republican president gets in next time, there are all these long-standing bureaucrats that are trying to hold on to their power, so they don't want to show how things really work in the back end. They don't want us people to know. They just want to keep things as hidden as possible and keep us kind of distracted at all times. So I think what's happening culturally, because there's been this big spotlight being shown on issues like this, I think we're not going to let this point go. We want to know where exactly our laws are being implemented equally. So whatever they're going to keep pushing back on, I don't think people are going to drop this issue. And it's unfortunate that it's Prince Harry who's going to be castigated in the process, but honestly, he deserves it. He deserves for everything that he has done, but he's kind of become the poster child on this particular case.
You know what? Yeah, go ahead, Shaun, please.
History has shown that the senior royals are above the law. I don't know if you guys have watched Scoop on Netflix, but look at the case of Prince Andrew. There was a point where he was getting mentioned in legal paperwork pertaining to Virginia Giuffre and the Epstein case. And it was speculated that if he touched down on American soil, he was potentially going to get apprehended or interrogated. And if fully prosecuted, could have ended up in prison. But what happened? Double-digit millions were paid to make that go away. So they're above the law. And it's like they never suffer the consequences of their actions like the rest of us.
Well, maybe that's why they keep throwing this temper tantrum, because Harry's in a different situation. I mean, he's kind of like straddling the fence, wouldn't you say? He's not in the UK. He's no longer, at least by all outward appearances, he doesn't have palace protection, doesn't have the courtiers who are like walking behind him, cleaning up and sweeping up his mess. But what Baggage Claim had just stated, I mean, I think maybe that's one of the reasons that people really, I don't want to say loathe, but that they're bothered, they're irritated by the menace in the mouth. It's this certain attitude. They kind of represent the two-tiered system that we're living in right now. It's like, we can do whatever we want. We can tell you to go eat kale and tofu and make sure that you monitor your carbon footprint. Don't go on a plane. But we'll take a private jet to a birthday party an hour away, or go to a rock concert, or whatever we want. And I think that may be something there to that, where it's like they represent this example, this hubris of like, we can do what we want to do. You just do what we tell you to do.
You know what? Another thing that I think people are angry about, that now it's shamelessly showing, because before we knew it, but they wouldn't say it. But now to have a U.S. ambassador, I mean, and I worked in diplomacy, guys, to have a U.S. ambassador admit in an interview for the public that no matter what Harry does, even if it's breaking the law in a federal level, even because that's a federal crime, what he's done, okay? that nothing is going to happen to him. That's admitting that that her president is a crook, is breaking the law and not upholding. So they're flaunting it in our faces that, oh, we can do whatever we want. There's nothing you can do. And I think that upsets people. I think that's the part that upsets people, because before we kind of knew it, but they never flaunted it. But now, not only are they breaking the law, because that's breaking the law, they're flaunting it on people's faces who are struggling for food. Harry going on, oh, I congratulate you on flying commercial and Travelist, and this is a guy who takes private planes to go to the next corner of his house. You know, it's the hypocrisy of it all, but it's the flaunting of the lies. When Harry and Meghan went on Oprah while Prince Philip was dying, and the Queen was already very ill. You know, and then Meghan said because some people said maybe they should postpone it. I think they were offered the option to postpone it. And Meghan said, what's done is done. You know, they're just trying to shut me up. They don't want me to, you know, that shows, she's a psycho. I'm sorry. That's really cold-blooded.
It is. It is. Well,
I said that's cold-blooded.
It is.
Yeah.
No. What I was going to say is it's funny. Not only is the palace not protecting them, but yesterday, I think it was yesterday, they released this. Is this what you were looking at earlier, Shaun? Their jam? The palace actually, I didn't know that they could troll. They were actually, but they're trolling Meghan. I was like, you got to hand it to them. Hold on. Let me see if I can get the sound up here. Oh, I can't play that one. It's copyrighted. But you can see they decided to troll Meghan because they're talking about the jam. And they put this little commercial. Look at it. And that's brilliant. I'm like, I don't know who did this. Give that person a raise. Give them a bump up. But that was, I loved it. The
did you see what Chrissy Teigen did?
Oh, yes, great point, Paula. Chrissy,
but you know what? You know what she was promoting? Not the jam. Her pots and pans, because she was frying in her pans. So she people think because the jam was a condiment. If you look at when she slices the thing, she's like featuring the pan, you know. Did you see that?
It was same with that other friend, you know, Love Like a Mother. She had her own t-shirt on when she's promoting the jam. I mean, this is all you scratch my back, I scratch your back. They're all influencers trying to sell something, and they're all getting together to do it, to, you know, get all the sheep to follow along.
Well, I think Harry's going to have some difficulty now because you have also Africa Parks. Have y'all been following Africa Parks? I know you have, Paula, and I think, Shaun, you followed it also. Have you seen this baggage claim with the whole Africa Park situation?
No, I don't think so.
So what's happened is that Harry is still a director of this charitable organization that is, I think they're...
That one?
No, this is the Africa. It's called Africa Parks, and it's based out of South Africa, and they are running, I think it is 22 national parks and 12 different African nations, except you've had over the last year in the Congo, the Baka people who've lived in this rainforest for hundreds of years have been tortured, beaten, brutalized, because Africa Park's primary mission is to preserve and to push the green agenda. So while they've been doing this, they've been pushing the people out who live off the rainforest, you know, where they get their skins, their food, their water, they build their homes. And it keeps coming up every few months, but it won't break through the mainstream media. It like pops out for a little second and then it disappears. Well, a new Dutch journalist, his name is Oliver Beeman, I'll read it here. He states, now Dutch journalist Oliver Beeman has presented further accusations based on interviews with both victims and perpetrators. It's for his new upcoming book, Entrepreneurs in the Wild. Former Zambian African Parks Ranger Foster Kalunga detailed the torture method he called Kampelwa, or swing, in extracts quoted in UK newspaper The Times. Sometimes we use Kampela, said Kalunga, a ranger in Lua Plain National Park, for 5 years until 2022. Then you tie someone up, hands and feet tied together behind his back, and you hang him on a stick between two branches. These are just one of the acts. I mean, they attack women. Again, a charity that Harry is on the board of directors at, and he refuses to step down. He also refuses to do anything about it. And so people have been asking, well, wait a minute, you know, video after video. 2 weeks ago, he was in Miami preparing for that polo championship, and he held a closed door press event. And he was like, Africa is near and dear to my heart. Ever since I was a kid, I love all of Africa. That's where I want to live. That's where I want to be, except not one question about Africa Parks. So I just wanted to, I guess, get what y'all think about that. Do you think, I still think that this is going to boil to the surface. And
what's worse, George, is that he was warned before he was promoted to its board of directors. He received a warning about vicious, I'll just say R word, and human rights abuses allegedly committed by rangers employed by the charity months before he was promoted to the board of directors. He was sent shocking testimony of crimes against Baka tribes, people in the Republic of Congo, while serving as president of African Parks. And he was asked by Survival International, which fights for the rights of indigenous people, to use his influence and position to stop these abuses being committed in a letter sent to both him and Meghan Markle in May last year. And in his response, Harry responded to say he had escalated the concerns raised by Survival International to the CEO and chairman of African Parks, claiming they would be the appropriate people to handle the next steps. So there's a complete fob off.
Right, but could you imagine how they could actually fix the situation? So we come back to the beginning question, which is, why do people not really like them? Right here. Whenever they want to, promote a jam, they're going to grab, like you said, Chrissy Teigen or Jenner or any other Hollywood has-been a reality star, when they could just snap their fingers and, get 30 or 4 reporters from major news networks around the world and go, okay, fly with us right now. We're going to Africa. We're going to the Congo. We're going to show you what's going on. We're not leaving from here until this is resolved. But they don't. So it's phony.
But you know why, right? You know why specifically? Because of this mineral called coltan, which is used now. The biggest mine of coltan is in Congo, where the Baka people are, where all this thing is. This is the driving force about getting these people out. And in 2000 and something, Bill Gates managed to get the Congo to lift their restriction to mine. And as soon as he did that, I want to say 2011 or 2016 or something like that, he managed to get the Congo because there was a restriction in mining. So once he lobbied and he got the government to lift it. So this is what behind it. And coltan right now is more expensive even than platinum, I believe, because it's what's in your phone. It's very malleable. It's what it helps conduct electricity or signal, whatever it is that they do. So this is why the people of Baka are being pushed out. Because people didn't understand what it was until I got into research, and I got actually an email from the human rights organization that are trying to help these people. And I said, I don't understand why. So they're reaching out to YouTubers, because the mainstream media, they don't want to do anything, guys. So they reach out to YouTubers. And this is why I've done videos about it, because they say they don't want to talk about it because there's a lot of money at stake. There's a lot of money. I mean, it's a lot of money right now. It's replacing lithium.
Wow. It's like there's so many layers to this. I mean, what I find just interesting is they have all this ability to be able to make positive change in the world, but it just, they focus it on themselves. I was looking for, when we were talking about Lemonada Media earlier, which I still think it's hilarious. Was it you that said it, Shaun? Was there CV, or was it Paula, her baggage claim? It's like you said, it's another
I said that she's filling up her CV. Have you seen her CV went from speaking Argentinian, a Creole type of English? By the way, there's no such thing as Argentinian. I think I've done extensive videos on that. And she doesn't speak it either. So if you look at Harry's CV, like the ones that they put in the Sussex Royal, and you put Meghan's CV, it's like 500 words or so, like 2 long pages. If you look at it, she's bestseller. She's gotten an NAACP, the Human Rights Award. She's filled her CV. Right now, she's added to her CV, Lemonada, even if she doesn't put anything, she signed it and it's there. Harry is the director of African Parks.
I got what you're saying. You're like,
he could do a Princess Diana, like she did, went with the Red Cross, grabbed all those people and walked repeatedly through those landmines. Why doesn't he do that?
Well, yeah, they're not going to do that. But I find it interesting is that Limonada Media, when I was reading their statement, they basically said, and I'm dying to hear what y'all think about this. They basically stated, we don't want to overshadow the launch of Meghan's American Riviera ripoff or her Netflix series. And I was like, whoa. Let's take a step back. What media company under the sun does not want to get millions of dollars in free advertising from cross promotion? I mean, like, they all do it. It's like she's going to be on a Netflix series and they could pump their brand, but no, they don't want to overshadow it.
Yeah, I think, she, like many other narcissists, is very good at selling herself. In the first couple of impressions, she can really come off as very warm, gives way too many hugs, and she's, speaks very well. She's eloquent and well dressed. And so people kind of fall for her in the beginning. And I think that was the case with Limonada. And then they sit down for a couple of meetings trying to get to the meat of the product. And then they discover just how there's nothing there. It's all vacuous. So I think they were realizing that whatever story she might have sold them about why it didn't work out on Spotify, I think they started to see that the same thing's going to happen to them as well. And so they might as well cut their losses early, but hide it behind this very seemingly generous offer, which is we don't want to encroach on her other projects. So let's just leave it here. And then it'll never be mentioned again, is my guess.
So they got Spotify. Basically, they met the real Meghan and they're like, okay, we're out of here. The podcast got Spotify'd even before it was started.
Yeah,
it's interesting to see the rise and fall of her reach, because before Harry, all of her media was paid for or arranged by her employers or herself. Then the wedding was watched by 1.9 billion people. That was the peak of the reach. And now she's pushing jam and getting her podcast shelved. So the arc's like, whoop, whoop.
And she went back to her Deal or No Deal roots, because now she's back with Chrissy Teigen. Because where was she when Chrissy Teigen was being canceled for her very inappropriate and bullying, abusive tweets? She didn't reach out to Chrissy Teigen then. I mean, Kris Jenner dumped her butt, like they were going to go into that pots and pans thing. And Kris Jenner said, no, I'm staying, because Kris Jenner is a businesswoman. So where was Meghan Markle? Where was Meghan Markle then? But Meghan Markle, the fact that she gets the likes of somebody like, I didn't know about many of her tweets until I did a video yesterday. And I started researching. I'm like, how can this woman not even be arrested? I mean, the things that she's, even if it's just to be noticed, the things that we were doing the Royal News Flash this morning, and I said to Ron, can you show them? He goes, no, this is a morning show. That's how bad they are.
Wow. Have y'all seen? Have y'all ever? I didn't know about this till 2 weeks ago. Have y'all ever heard of a show? It was on HBO Max called The Prince. The show is horrible. It was canceled after a year. It was made by the people who made Family Guy. But I dug through, I think it's 12 or 13 episodes, and they have about 6 or 7 Meghan clips. I mean, I don't like the show because it's all basically trying to attack the royal family for no reason, but they have Meghan and Harry, and I'm looking for the clip because when you see it, you're going to die, because it's like it captures them. It's like I felt when I watched it, I'm like, why are all the best clips with Meghan and Harry? And I was like, well, it looks like the writers went to HBO and said, we have this amazing show. We're going to reveal the truth about Meghan and Harry, and we're going to make the fun out of hell. We're going to mock the hell out of them. And they're like, yeah, you can't do that. So we'll make a royal show, and we'll just throw them in there. But so I discovered it. And where did I put it? Because it was just brilliant. I have the
That's the show that I think bullies Prince George the most, right? If you've seen it. Yes, okay.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why I said it.
People were clapping back at that because they were mocking Prince George. Is that it?
It is. That's why I said it's a horrible show. It's a horrible show. It's a horrible
They show him as a very sort of very like Stewie-like character, very sort of like a Ponce, so what the Brits would call. He's like a total Ponce, right? I don't know what's the Americanism for that, but it's just it's bullying. And I think one of the things that show really got pulled up for, I think it was a year ago, was that Orlando Bloom does Prince Prince Harry's voice
Oh
in that.
yes, I remember that. That's a good one, Miss Kame. Yeah.
Oh,
And-
here
and-
it is.
And Orlando
go on.
Bloom is very protective of his children. He's very protective. And here he is starring in a show that is intentionally bullying a 10-year-old boy. It's
And that was horrible.
insane.
That's why I said it's a horrible show, because people were asking me in the comments of the videos, like, George, I want to go watch this. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to watch this show.
But they pull up Harry and Meghan really well too, like you're saying.
They did. That's why I felt the writing was spot on for the Meghans, but everybody else, it was horrendous. So I'm like, I just had that gut feeling they wanted a Harry and Meghan show, and they were just shot down. Because if you think when it came out, that was like at their peak, right after the peak of their popularity, and someone's like, yeah, there's something funny here. But here it is. Here's, I think, a clip, just so you get a taste of the way that they.
So all you'd have to do is Instagram yourselves using my ketchup. It'd be a huge help.
I see. Well, that's something we'll definitely think about.
Who's that?
That's your nephew, Archie.
You're pulling my leg. Why have we not met before?
You've met him like 1,000 times. So are you going to do the fucking Instagram or not? So
it's like you can tell like they've wanted to really go to town on him. And there's a lot more. I mean, there's one clip where Harry, she's like, they're back in the US, and she's like, we have to get a job. We have to get jobs. And he goes to like a Starbucks knockoff because he's like, well, now we have to find a way to make 50 billion pounds a year. Cause he's like, we're on our own. And he goes to Starbucks and he's being trained. He's like, I've always wanted to know how to make tea. Do I get to learn how to make tea? And he's like, well, that's one of our most popular things next to water. He's like, I'd like to know how to do that too. I mean, it's just, they literally roast them. Everything else.
Talking about shows, you guys remember this show that was called How I Met Your Mother?
Oh, I love that show.
Okay, there's a show that's called How I Met Your Father.
Oh,
Kim Cattrall is the woman narrating that. But there's a couple there that they literally, and they even said it there, this is like a Meghan Markle Harry situation. This is an American girl who went, and then she married this aristocrat after knowing him for a very little time, and they portray him as an idiot. And they repeatedly say, oh, this is going to end up like Meghan Markle, you know, where this is a Meghan Markle. They talk about it the whole time, how this is a Meghan Markle situation. It's called How I Met Your Father. And I was, because I thought, oh, you know, it's Kim Cattrall. I like her. And then it's like it's very prominent, and they portray the British guy as a complete idiot who can't cope with the US because he's used to like having his tea or having people do things for him. I mean, it's a very bad image of how they present Harry, but the whole message throughout the show is that relationship is doomed. You know, and this is that show, which is I'm surprised you guys haven't heard of it. It's on HBO.
I've watched one season of it. Yeah, I've watched the first season, but I couldn't really get into it because I was such a fan of How I Met Your Mother. So I haven't seen that section. That's really interesting. I wanted to bring up something and just see what you guys thought about this. So I think what's interesting, because I know Tom Bauer mentioned this, saying that after Lady C's book release, which I haven't had a chance to read that yet. It sounds incredible. It seems to be that now from the British media, there's this now newfound trickle. He called it a stream of information about Meghan Markle that they have been sitting on for a long time. And there's been this even warning shot kind of sent out, letting Meghan Markle know that they have a lot of information relating to the bullying allegations that they have sat on. And one of the things I'm starting to notice now is that all these, you know, the Sun, the Times, Daily Mail, they're talking more and more boldly about what they know. And I think it's we're going to start to see more and more come out, because even that instance with what had happened in the Fiji market, wasn't it Fiji, Paula, correct me? It was the Fiji market, right, where she left that engagement. Yeah. That was something that was so heavily discussed by the YouTubers for a long time. And even Lady C talked about it, but it was not something that the British media was touching at all. And then the Sun reporter, who was there as part of the Royal Rotor, came out and confirmed that this is what he saw. And he realized that, she had basically thrown this fit. So I realize now that the tide seems to be really turning, and she's sort of run out of luck with the people that were willing to stay silent because they were afraid of being accused of racism. And I think that was the whole British media, is that they were so reticent from criticizing her even a little, that because they thought they would be accused of that. They're accused of it anyway, even though they have actually treated her far better than she deserves. So I think that that's running out. What do you guys think? Do you guys kind of feel the same thing?
I do. With Samantha Cohen, because you're talking about Samantha Cohen. It's funny. It's like we were thinking the same thing. I had her picture here ready. Cohen is, I think the dam's about to break, because she already spoke to the Australian Herald Sun. And so you're going to have more. I think it's going to force the palace to release the entire, what was it? The interviews. Yeah, the investigation. What do you think, Shaun?
So Lady C points out in her book, Baggage Claim, how when the marriage happened, there was this huge hope that the royal establishment had now a mixed race couple, and this was going to, send a positive signal to the world for racial harmony. But over time, as Meghan increasingly weaponized the race card and wokeism, then that hope was shattered, and the complete opposite effect occurred, because Lady C points out that, the Commonwealth is spread over all these countries throughout the world, and there's all these sensitive race relations. And she was contacted by diplomats and people high up in these countries pertaining to how the bad relations that were being set about this chain of events because of Meghan's behavior. And now it got to the point where the allegations of racism were made, specific names were mentioned. So the whole thing has gone from hope to treachery and despair. And I think this is why now the media, because there was a point in time when Harry released a statement, Lady C pointed out, and he kind of like intimated misogyny and racism. And the UK media actually did back down at that point in time. But now they are becoming more emboldened, because the credentials of this couple, they've absolutely destroyed themselves.
Yes.
I think it's shame on the press. I gotta tell you, the press is disgusting. I've been calling them out. We YouTubers have been called conspiracy theorists for saying exactly what they're publishing now as breaking news. We've been talking about for 4 years, having our channels canceled. People trash us on a thing, call us hate stalkers. Oh, you're insane. You're a conspiracy theory to discredit us. And the press is shameful, because they were sitting on all this information that we've been talking about for years. And they're like, breaking news. So-and-so says there's information in the vault of the palace. Really? Like when we talked that she was a bully, or you have to say allegedly, because you have to, or you can't say that, because they were all too afraid. They were all being very woke. But the press is disgusting, because journalism is dead, guys.
Oh yeah.
That we YouTubers are the journalists, and the way that the press, because we're the competition. I've seen a lot of articles, even from Meghan Small, like one of our, it's amazing. Meghan Small has dedicated her channel to debunk Meghan Markle's fake pregnancies. I have spoken at length that it's important, imperative to get that Meghan Markle presents those documents, because it has constitutional ramifications. I've said this for 4 years. People are, oh, shut up. We're tired of that. That's conspiracy theory. So people, I find that the press is like a competition with us. They literally grab stories that Meghan Small talks about, and they put it, I've seen it, and they don't even credit her. And it's a shame, because they don't investigate. You know that I called WME to see if Meghan Markle was represented by them, and I did a video about it. I called the hospital when Meghan Markle did the visit, and I called Netflix. I talked to a guy on Netflix about Meghan Markle, and I did a video about it. And people, oh, Paula is calling them. How terrible. Maybe because I'm 55. That's how we used to do it back then. I hate technology. I can't even find an email on that thing, you know, and I get frustrated. So I type Netflix phone number and I call, you know, and they say, why don't you record them? Because you have to inform them that you're recording them. And if they don't give permission, you can't record them because that's breaking the law.
Right.
So, but the press is shameful. It's shameful because thanks to them, they don't do the journalism of exposing Harry and Meghan and the craziness. They cover up that Fiji incident, baggage claim. The press, it was a security thing. Everybody knew it wasn't. And they all went along with it. And we said, we YouTubers, that there's no security thing. We knew that the assistant quit mid-tour along with the bodyguard, the female bodyguard who's done like 2 tours of Iraq or something like that. And she quit because she couldn't finish the tour with Meghan Markle. That's how dreadful this woman is.
Well, we know that we know that Hollywood right now, there are many studios who've been pressuring YouTube, and a lot of the media critics, they want YouTube to not allow movie reviewers. So I can understand that the journalists are afraid. You know, they don't have to work anymore. They invent half of the news. They don't report any of the facts. We find out real stories about, you know, a year or two later, they're like, oh, well, we knew about this, but we thought it wasn't a good time to release it. We thought it might have a negative impression on the individual, government official, election, country, whatever it is. So y'all are all out there. We're all out there bringing the facts to people, and they can't stand that. I want us to see if there are any questions in the super chats, then we'll come right back to this. Fletcher, let's bring up to see if there are any questions from anybody. Okay, we got Donna Hergen, member for 3 months. So happy to be a member for 3 months. Enjoy it. Thank you, Donna. That means a lot. 3 months. Wow, I started in January. It's already 3 months. Amazing. Deborah Stafford for £5. I guess that must be a super sticker. We'll find out what that is and then share it with everyone. Thank you, Deborah. Mr. Tickle Trunk for $5 Canadian. We're in the era of narcissism, and Meghan's antics and supporters seem to fit that pattern. Good news, though, they create their own karma and fail hard. Mr. Tickle Trunk, as always, you are spot on. Karma is the one thing no one can escape. You know, it's like that great equalizer. And I think it's got the Menace in the Mouth's address. Royal Daily Tea for $5. Harry has a small loophole to become a citizen and keep royal titles, according to immigration law. I gotta take a look at that. I didn't know that. Have y'all heard of that? I thought
I talked about it in my live yesterday with Andrew, but actually I looked into it and he can't.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Based on the Constitution, you can't hold any noble titles. Especially I remember we've had several members in our society, they were knighted, and they can't hold them here. It's just more of kind of like an honorarium. All right. Thank you, Royal Daily Tea. Jim Alaska gifted 20 georgethegiantslayer memberships. Jim, I know I skipped last Sunday stream. I was fighting a cold, but it's always great to see. You have to understand the super chats, the gifted memberships, they keep all the lights on, and they help kind of like they're rocket fuel for this adventure. So I appreciate every one of you. And this Saturday, we're actually having a member stream. So thank you.
That's a good question. I saw that question, Anastasia McGovern. It's a very good question.
Oh, Anastasia McGovern for $5. Does anybody really know why Harry will not leave Meghan? Is it because the children don't exist by getting a divorce? We'll expose that. Wow, we'll get to that in a second. What do y'all think? Shaun?
What do you think?
Well, Lady C is acknowledging that the children do exist. And I'm just referring back to something Paula said earlier about surrogacy, because it ties into this and the line of succession. There's a quote here in the book, because this is the part I've just got up to, actually. And it says, insofar as I'm aware, Harry and Meghan have never admitted to anyone that those sprogs are anything but legitimately born of her body, a cousin says. I gather they have insisted privately that the children were born by her and born of her body to her, not that everyone believes them. And the bottom line is, according to Lady C in this book, that if, for example, the surrogate were to publicly say that she'd done this, then they could be severed from the line of succession. But because it's the privacy, the contract is so tight,
can't break it.
That it's unbreakable, isn't it? So that will never happen. So that's there's a lot of speculation around that, of course.
Yeah, you know why I've always thought it's like one. I've never liked to talk about the children because I don't like to talk about anyone's kids. I'm like they're kids. They when they're adults and they enter the sphere and they decide to do that, cool. But I'll address this one time. My only thought has always been, and believe me, my family argues with me all the time. I mean, they're like, I want you to say this, George. I'm like, not gonna happen. But they tell me, it's like I've always thought the kids exist. Who's what, wherever. I have no idea, because my belief was in a form of logic that if they weren't, then the palace would know. The palace would know, and they would be able to maintain some type of control, some type of leverage, some type of force to be able, okay, you go do you, live your life, good luck, God bless. Don't open your mouth about us. Don't attack us. Don't attack the country. That's why I've always just kind of been, how could they, like, even if they were surrogate, okay, let's hypothetically, if they were surrogates for a second, it's like people have done that. I can't see how they would be able to have the titles, and the palace would know that. That's my sticking point for the whole thing. Does that make sense?
There was a hint in the statement from the palace around the birth, saying they were not of Meghan. They were like for Meghan. That's what they said in the statement. It's in the book, so I can't remember exactly. Yeah,
I gotta read this book now.
Yeah.
You know what it is, though, George? It's not. I always said, and this is like I don't know if it's the right term, sophistry. It's like if you go to church and you see these children, the children's choir, singing songs in church praising Jeffrey Dahmer. You are conflicted because it's children, a children's choir singing in church praising Jeffrey Dahmer, because you feel like if we criticize the children, what they're singing, it's going to be perceived as though we're criticizing the children of the church. So this is what people like Meghan Markle do. They hide behind, they use certain things as shields. For example, she said that she didn't want the paparazzi. She didn't want to say where her kids were born because of the paparazzi. But by law, or it used to be by law, they had to present the easel with the signatures. It was law up until 1948 when King George VI asked Parliament to do away with it. But it was with the understanding, it was like that they were going to present the easel, because before the Home Secretary had to be present for the royal births and certify that the child came out of that body, to avoid getting an imposter. Because yes, beautiful people, they used to get imposters. Laws arise out of need. But in 1948, which was law, was done, but it was a gentleman's agreement. But when Meghan Markle comes along, she refuses to present that, and she says, "Oh, it's because the paps were going to be outside my hospital." The paparazzi has nothing to do with a document, or an official document that has to be presented to verify the legitimacy of those children in the line of succession.
But one day we're going to find out. The reality is one day, the big mystery, I really think they're their kids, whether it's through surrogate or theirs. And otherwise, I think the palace would be able to control them better. Two, the kids are going to grow up one day. Whether Meghan and Harry, the menace and the mouth, the harpy and half-wit, they're married, not married, divorced, single, separated, one in China, one in the U.S. The kids are going to become adults. They're going to speak. It's inevitable. And only God knows what kind of mental damage you're going to have being in that family with people who say they love them every 5 minutes, but they're everywhere else but home. By the way, how's Ziggy?
George, I found the official announcement from the palace.
Okay. Can you share it? We can put it up.
Yeah, Lady C thinks that they were tipping that, indicating that they knew. So here it is. It's the Queen, the Prince of Wales, and the Duchess of Cornwall, and the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge have been informed and are delighted with the news of the birth of a daughter for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. And Lady C added, if the media and public were blind to the significance of the wording, those in the know were not. And these, according to a friend of theirs, included Meghan and Harry, who went ballistic that Buckingham Palace's birth announcement possessed the undeniable implication that the baby had not been born to Meghan, but had been born for the couple.
So it's in there in many ways. That is, I mean, I'd like now to go back and compare that to Princess Catherine and Prince William's like birth announcements for George. That would be interesting, and for the other children, because if theirs is complete, like if their other children had them all the same, and then Meghan's and Harry's was different, that's kind of like, wow, you know, shining lights. But again, I think it'll all come out. Let's wrap these up real quick. We got Sheridan, member for 3 months. Me too, George. I'm with you. Lisa Bruning became a YouTube member. Thank you, Lisa. Hope to see you this Saturday at the member stream. Fred Witherow for £5. Question for Shaun. Oh, we'll wait a second till he gets right back here. And it's question for Shaun. Are Harry and Meghan purposefully triggering their trolls for the internet cloud? What do y'all think till he gets back?
I mean, what do you mean like they're purposely triggering their trolls for the internet cloud? Well, I don't think I'm a troll. Because all I'm asking is, for example, for me, all I'm asking is proof of those 2 children that they were born out of Meghan Markle's body.
I don't think that's the question. I think it's they're triggering their trolls.
Oh,
their trolls. Yeah, question. You had a question. Fred Witherow for £5 had a question for you, Shaun. It says, question for Shaun: are Harry and Meghan purposely triggering their trolls for the internet cloud?
I don't think so. I think, like I said at the very beginning, they had the world in their hands, and now they're on this irreversible, slippery slope, whereby they're desperate to try and be relevant. They're desperate to get the business deals going again, but it's all just working against them. It's like, you know, you see these stories where it's all the glitz, the glamour, the partying, and then the cops come in and the goes wrong. It's kind of like that. And baby Ziggy's right here, right now. I ran out to see if he was awake, and he is. Ziggy, come and say hello to George and baggage claim and Paula. They've asked about you.
Hi, sweet boy. Hi, Ziggy.
How you doing, Ziggy? They're asking how you're doing. Can you see him on the big screen up there? Let me make it bigger. I'll make it bigger for you. Can you see those people, Ziggy?
Hello, Ziggy. Because you were here the first time, so we had to do it again. Beautiful.
He's looking now. He can see you guys now.
Thank you so much. Yeah, because it's late there right now, isn't it?
It is 9:15 p.m. Yeah.
So we got through all those. I think that was an interesting question. There's one of the things I started doing, I'm not finished yet, is I'm trying to map out how many of the positive the social media posts are actual bots versus real people. It's taking a while, and I should be finished in about a month, but we're getting there. So
that'll be interesting, George.
Yeah, because I want to know. You know what's funny is that what sparked that for me was there is a friend of mine called Master of the TDS. I think you've probably seen him on Twitter. A lot of people use his tweets. And, you know, the whole Sweet Baby Inc., the woke mind virus that has infested not only Hollywood, but now video games. Well, he did this amazing project where an article that was posted up by this consulting company, just so everybody knows in the chat, if y'all have seen my videos, in Hollywood, it's infected. All the movies that we see have one level to a degree of woke, where there's no character, there's no storyline, it's just pushing ideology, and it treats it like a lecture. They're doing the same things to video games. So this gentleman, he was looking at all these articles that were put out by this 2 or 3 different companies, and what he discovered was, I mean, you're talking about they had thousands of views, but positive, like this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Oh. But when he broke it all down and tracked them, he found out that, you know, let's say a post had 1 million views, it only actually in reality had 1,000. And he find all the bots. And so I've been wondering how many of the positive posts on social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, X, Twitter, whatever the hell they call it now, how many of those are real for Meghan and how many are actual bots? So that's going to be something. Did Shaun mentioned it's like they fail one thing after the other. Eventually, there is going to be an end of the road for the ventures, not for the individuals, for the ventures, because you're noticing Kris Jenner, like I mentioned at the top of the show, got her basket late last night or early today, and she shared it, and she was like, thank you. It's like, here's a bunch of lemons with a little bit of jam. And so what I was
stone bowl. Is that what it is? It looks like a stone bowl, right?
I got a basket, and I saw somebody got a stone bowl, but I looked up who were the people that received them. And I don't know why, but it just like caught my interest. Like, so far, who do we know? Here it is. Who received Meghan's jam? Who was lucky enough to be
Abigail Spencer, Chrissy Teigen, Nacho, the wife, Blanquier, something like that, which is Nacho's wife.
Yep. Hold on. Here it is, the list. So it was just funny. And when you're looking at them, wrong one. Where did you go? When you're looking at them, okay, so we got Abigail. She got the bowl. Ooh. You have Hollywood has-beens, D-listers, or reality stars. You got Nacho, Kelly McKee-Zafkin. Don't know who she is.
No,
she also got the bowl.
3 out of 50. Good for her.
And you got Tracy Ellis Ross. Now, I looked her up because Abigail and Tracy, talking about woke as can be. Then we get Tracy Robbins. And then we get Mindy, another woke one. Velma 2, season 2 is coming out, which this first season was horrendous. And Chrissy Teigen and Kris Jenner. So I guess we can now at least make, I would say, a presumption based on facts. They had talked 6 months ago that Jenner wants Meghan and Harry on the Kardashian show, at least for a season, for a few episodes. So her sending her that, I'm starting to see the moves that they're going to be on the show. 3 weeks ago, there was an article in Express UK which stated that Meghan has sent Harry to acting class. Thoughts?
Wow.
The husband, formerly known as Prince, is going into acting so he can do better on the show.
He honestly... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Going back to Miss Robbins and her husband, Paramount boss Brian Robbins, they are friends with the Sussexes and invited them to the Bob Marley film premiere in Jamaica in January.
Yep.
Go for it, baggage.
Kelly McKee-Safian is actually quite interesting. I don't know if you know this, guys, but actually Trevor Engelson, her first husband or second husband, depending on who you talk to, he was friends with her. He was friends. In fact, he made a donation of $1,000. Him and his new wife made a donation of $1,000 because, get this, she had twins, and her son's name was George, and her daughter's name is Lily. George, the little boy, died. Meghan befriended them after Trevor made a donation of $1,000, and she came and made a donation of $5,000. But it was afterwards, so it's like she's stalking her ex-husband. She's wearing that Cartier bracelet that he gave her, and now have you seen how she's like very narcissistic, how she befriends her and makes them feel like she's her best friend in the world? And it's quite scary because George is dead, but Lily survived. It kind of has like a symbolism that's very uncomfortable because she has a daughter named Lily, Prince George. But it's amazing how she stalked, because after Trevor Engelson gave $1,000 to the foundation this lady set up because of that, Meghan Markle came in, I'll do you better. I'll give you $5,000.
That's funny. It reminds me of what Amber Heard did, right? Because when she supposedly donated her divorce settlement from Johnny Depp, she split it between the ACLU and the Children's Hospital, where Johnny Depp has been volunteering for years without any press coverage, because that's not how he volunteers. He doesn't do it so that he can elevate his status. He just does it out of the goodness of his heart. So when she did the donation, and they were going back and forth, it was kind of contentious after the divorce, and she said, I appreciate that Johnny Depp has this newfound interest in the hospital when he was attached to it for years. And she suddenly, that's what's really interesting, is that narcissists really do think that the world spins on whatever perspective that they put in for. They think they're so much smarter than the rest of us plebes, that they think that whatever they say, we'll take it as gospel from God. And we'll never go and second check. If she says these are her children, we'll all believe without a question, these are her children. There was a racist in the royal family, we'll just believe it. There was a racist in the royal family. We got married 3 days beforehand, we'll just believe it. And they're all lies. They're all these lies that they've never been able to confirm. And, speaking about how the British press was really covering up Meghan Markle when she was in the royal family, one of the things I had noticed, this was a couple of years ago, I was putting this video together about how narcissists use their children for attention.
Really?
And yes, and as part of that, I went back and watched all the engagements where she was expecting with Archie, and the number of times that she was flicking her coat, right? This is now a very well-known thing. She kept flicking her coat to draw more attention to her belly. And there were so many periods where the reporters in the raw footage would edit that out. So you would see her belly covered, and then suddenly it's like the coat is like kind of jammed up, and like she's caught it with her elbow, like clinging to her abdomen, so that it's hanging open. So it increases the amount that people see her belly. And so suddenly it would just go from that's not there to suddenly it's there, it's being held there. So they were trying to hide the fact that she was being this manipulative. They were trying to protect her because she's part of the royal family. They gave her that same umbrella of protection because saying this royal family is a symbol of our culture. Let us have like at least some grace for them. And then how did she end up repaying all of that? And this is why I want to see what more comes out now. What else did they hide while she was in the royal family that maybe even like Paula doing all this research that maybe none of us have even found out about. I'm really curious what else is going to come out.
Well, you know that I have ordered 7. I even showed the email. And Meghan's mole, she's another YouTuber. Her channel is dedicated. She's got these amazing clips of Meghan flicking that coat, the moon bump dropping to the floor, drop it like it's hot. She's amazing. I love Meghan's mole. But I asked for 7 birth certificates. A copy. You can ask for copies of birth certificate, and it comes. You get the copy. It says cannot be used, or it's just a copy. Of Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor, born on June 4th, 2021, Santa Barbara, from Rachel Meghan Markle. And 7 times I got back that email. I got back the email saying, we cannot find any records with the details you provided. So I wrote the last time, I said, listen, I paid $43 every time I asked for this. How can you not have it? So, and the last time they sent me the email that I also showed, say, you know what? We understand you're frustrated, but if you have other documents, can you send us that? Because we can't find their records. And this time we'll search for free. so because I've done it 7 times. And then they say you can go to Santa Barbara or you can go to the county, but by now it should be in the central registry. And people tell me in my channel, why don't you look for Mary Diana Mountbatten Windsor, born in Ohio, on another date? Because the person who's in the line of succession is Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor, born on June 4th, on 2021 in Santa Barbara, California, from Rachel Meghan Markle. So I phoned them. I have this very nice habit of phoning them. And I said, could it be, because actually some of my subscribers says maybe it's confidential. They don't want to.
Yeah, it could be, because you also have celebrities who have a lot of celebrities in Hollywood. They have a lot of that stuff locked down.
But you know what the lady said to me? I said, could it be that it's confidential and you just don't send it? It says, no. If it were confidential, we would tell you. And their response, we cannot release these records due to a judge order. So, and they give you the reference number of the judge's order where that thing is kept confidential, because these are public records. So I said, are you absolutely sure, ma'am? And she goes, yeah, we would tell you. We can't release. The record exists, but we can't release it. We just can't find any child. Listen to this. Any child born from a lady named Rachel Meghan Markle.
Like I said, we'll find out about the kids one day. I mean, I think that's it's just they're growing up. However it is, they're going to grow up, and we're going to have the proof.
You want to hear something freaky? I don't know if you know this. You know that the doctor that Meghan Markle claims brought this little girl to the world.
Yeah,
she suddenly quit her practice. You know what her husband does for a living?
No.
He owns a fertility and surrogacy private clinic in Montecito. It's very thriving, but she suddenly quit her practice, and all her patients were really angry because she had a very thriving practice. And usually when a doctor quits, they give you 2 weeks notice for you to find another doctor. She quit cold turkey and she disappeared. Now she's back again. Meghan Small told me she's very quietly back, but her husband owns a very exclusive private clinic, fertility clinic, and and surrogate too.
It could be. It could be, like I said, whether it's surrogates, IVF, whatever it is, eventually we'll get the information. The point comes down to, if it was, I think, something out, in my opinion, if it was something out of the bounds, I would have seen at least the courtiers, if not the royal family, would have kind of put their foot down, because they'd have been like, we got something on you. Just historically. I mean, half of our government threatens the other half of the government to do whatever they tell them to do, and that's because they'll have a file on them. But I'm glad you did all that research, because it points us in the direction that we know that the Meghans, they hide a lot of material. One of the things that I saw someone in the chat was asking them a second ago, and they're like, does anybody think they're happy? I mean, because back then you just brought up about narcissists. Are narcissists ever really happy, satisfied?
George, I swear to God, we're in each other's head. That is a video. That is literally a video I'm writing right now. Is, are narcissists happy? And I think, I think narcissists are really good about projecting happiness, very good at it, because they care so much about their public persona. They don't want to show the vulnerabilities of the reality of what they are. Because at the end of the day, they're almost like empty vessels, right? They really just reflect back someone else's personality. They acquire a lot of traits from other people. And I think Meghan does this thing where even at the polo match for Sentebale, she's constantly playing this role, and that's sort of what it feels like. It's that she's playing this role of beautiful wife of happy prince, and then they're having these perfect photo ops where they're kissing, they're looking at each other very loved up, but then there are all these candid photos where it looks like the complete opposite, where they actually look, the body language is really off. In fact, Prince Harry seems to be more palling around with Nacho and more interested in Nacho than he is in Meghan. And then Meghan also seems more interested in his friends and hugging all these other women all the time. I'm not insinuating anything. I'm just saying that it doesn't seem to be as much interest in each other.
Oh, yeah, don't insinuate. I have a video which I prepped. That's why I said we are in each other's minds. I just want people to watch this video, and then I'll play it again. But see if you pick something up, because maybe there's something else we're all missing. I'm making no accusations. Watch first. Then I'm going to blow it up. Okay, hold on. Let's take this from the beginning. What do we notice? I just want to know if this is normal.
Right here. Good to see you again. Amazing.
So strange. He's massaging Nacho's hand, right?
And look at his face. Yeah. And he's looking at him. And look how he looks. I'm like, in Greece, we hug, we kiss, but we don't do this to the guy.
Thank you, George. Thank you, George. I've had this conversation with people because I'm Latina, and Latin men are very affectionate. And I've shown this thing to my friends, and they go, if a guy did that to me, no, and they're best buddies, and they go, you know what? If you did that to me, I will punch you. I don't care if you're my cousin or what. I will punch you. You don't do that. That's gay. He goes,
I don't know what that is. Like I said, I don't care what two adults do whatever you want to do, but I'm just wondered, like, what is the chat? What do y'all think? Tell me. Yeah, I think it's a little weird. Maybe we're missing something. Is it possible that Meghan's a beard? I don't know. That was a little bit affectionate.
Well, it's not the first time though. There's footage of him pinching men's nipples, licking their nipples, reaching for their bottoms. I mean, it is.
Wow.
And I can tell you, British men are not that affectionate. I mean, I've lived in England for 6 years. And
unless they're on ecstasy pills, and that could be a possibility in that video. That's what I was thinking.
Really?
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
That's a fair point.
You go.
Yeah.
Because on
Harry admitted that he's on
ecstasy,
drugs most of the time.
touch, really, it's sensitive.
But it was the way he did it, isn't it? It's like intimate, like the
Flirty,
searching.
wasn't it?
It wasn't like, "Hey, buddy, I'm here." It's like the way you would caress a woman's hand.
Right, okay, let's watch it again. We're going to watch it one more time because I want to get, because I have asked every family member, every friend. I asked my girlfriend, I was like, what do you think?
You're Greek.
I'm Greek. That's why I'm like, Greeks, we hug, we kiss, we're affectionate. It's like, yasu obas agapao. But I'm like, I have never grabbed a dude's hand going, oh. I'm like, what the hell was that? I mean, it just is stunned me. So one more time, we're going to play to see what the hell is going on. And maybe he's on egg. I have no idea. Watch his face, though. That's the thing. Watch him turn. See? There it is. Hi.
It's like, hey.
And he's still, and then he continues to do it. It's one thing if it's like jokingly.
Yeah.
But even as he looks away, he continues to do it.
But did you see the tongue? I'm telling you, I have analyzed this video because it has freaked me out. I was like, what the hell is this? And that's why I was like, maybe Shaun is on it. Maybe it was on something.
Yeah. George, have you seen the one where it seems like he has his hand on Nacho's behind? It's a photo. Have you seen that one? Mm-hmm.
He
There's
does
another
a lot
one
of
of him
them.
spitting at him, like throwing water at him, like he's drinking water, throwing water at him playfully. This is before he met Meghan, I think. I just wanted to say something on the jam because I don't know how true this is, but there somebody, close sources to the Sussex camp, let it be known that Princess Eugenie was soon going to endorse her jam. I think that's Meghan Markle's way of outing Princess Eugenie or saying, I sent her a jar of jam, because those articles are there. So why is she so desperate to keep that link? But, I did show that we talked about that little video and people are like, no, he's not gay, Paula. You're wrong. You're just, and I'm like, of all the people, I'm the Latina and you guys are all British. I'm telling you, we even don't do that. My buddies, George, I'm sure I don't know if you do that in Greece, but my friends, they're male buddies, they come like half a block away and they're like with their arms like this.
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
yeah, I had to tone it in for YouTube because when I first started, I was like, the hands were all over the place. That's how we talk. There's just no way. And my editor is like, tone it down just a little. Because I would be like, how are you doing? What's going on? It's like, I can't keep doing this. It just doesn't work. But someone I had put it up while
what my cousin said? That dude is gay and he doesn't know it.
But actually someone made a point. Two people, they're saying like this is the kind of stuff that rugby players would do. They play with each other. I used to play rugby. I used to play soccer, football. And but these are polo players. I mean, maybe there's a different thing with horses, big sticks. I don't know. But these guys, they just seem to be doing something. It was just odd. It's not, you mess around with your pals in a certain way. But I've never looked at my best friend was like,
This is gentleman that says, excuse me, I'm British, Paula, and I always hold the hands of my 7 girlfriends affectionately. Yeah, but that's the key word, girlfriends. I used to have a British boyfriend and we used to hold hands all the time. He was very affectionate, but I never saw him caress the back of a man's hand, looking at him, almost throwing a little kiss. I'm sorry. I've never seen my friend, like anybody. Would you, Shaun? Have you seen that?
Look, I'm in London and I've never seen it, and rugby players are brutal, so I don't think it's a rugby player thing. It seemed to me like he was proper flirting with him.
That's what I thought.
Doing it on camera as well, like almost like signaling to the world his intentions for this guy, because he's so used to being photographed. He knows the world's going to see this. It definitely couldn't have been nerves or anything like that, because he's been indoctrinated in this kind of lifestyle. So I think he was proper flirting with the guy and letting the world know. Yeah, and just to touch on the jam thing, there's one more thing that I don't think we've mentioned. It's kind of a metaphor for where they are in the trajectory of their lives. People were quick to point out that it looked like labels of the jam were peeling off.
Yes.
One fan wrote, I know people are saying the label is coming off. Remember, Meghan is a sustainable girly, the label probably isn't stuck firmly onto allow people to peel it off easily and reuse the jar for other things. Maybe their own homemade batch of jam from a cookbook.
Ay, ay, ay. Oh.
Interesting.
But I want to ask the chat real quick. Put one in the chat just one more time. If you think that video was weird, something between Harry and Nacho Libre, or two, if you think it's just, I don't know. I don't even know what to call it.
Perfectly
something else.
Healthy.
One for Rocco, two for something else. Ones. Okay, we got ones.
Sometimes in England they tickle your back to try and make you smile for the camera.
But it
wasn't that. They already had huge Cheshire Cat grins.
Okay.
I mean, Harry had that perma grin like you get when you're on ecstasy.
That's like Marta Cardiel said that in the chat. It was something like very intimate. That's a very intimate jest. There wasn't a level of intimacy between that look that he gave Nacho. It's not like, hey, buddy, how are you? It's like, it's the whole. What do you think, Baggage Claim? When you put the package together, I mean, what do you think of it?
Yeah, I think it was a very, I agree with you. It was a very intimate look, almost like an inside joke sort of glance. It felt a little too naughty for what they're leading us to believe. Yeah.
There you go. I was waiting for him to start singing, Sorry.
Didn't they go to Singapore together? And the pictures of Harry and Nacho, I mean, I've never seen Harry so happy with. I mean, the laughter, and he was alone with Nacho. I mean, they were giggling. They were even posing for pictures. They posted
Harry and Nacho.
They posted in this store, and I'm sorry, it looks so gay. The both of them with the glasses, and they look like this. Oh my God, that gave me, Village People feeling. I'm sorry.
Like I said, he's an adult. If he's gay, he's gay. The thing is like that means this would put a whole other spin to the whole, Meghan and Harry. It would be Meghan and the mouth. No, menace. No, I don't know what to call it. Harry and the half hand. It would be something that would be different, but she would be his beard, and that's happened before. I mean, we've had it in many families. They've had it throughout history. Politicians, celebrities, you name it.
Well, the Duke of Windsor was bi.
Right, but I'm saying
was famously bi.
Right, but in 2024, I mean, it just was a thought. I was like, it would make sense why he would start going along with a lot of this stuff. It just put a different light. But what Shaun says, he could have also been on that. But
Meghan will be the victim in this. He left me for a man.
Yeah.
For Nacho. Why she couldn't call him a racist? She could not call him a racist.
I want to ask something to Baggage Claim. What do you think of Meghan cutting off her father like that? I mean, she didn't just cut him off. She manipulated behind the scenes to try to portray him as a deadbeat father when she said that she paid for her university on that Fiji speech. And then she said to the Congress, the letter to Congress, oh, I had to work from the age of 13, and then we could barely afford a Sizzler salad. She was trying to put him like a deadbeat father. And I mean, so she not only ghosted him, but trashed his reputation. How can she go from praising him in that UN speech? I mean, she never talked about her mom, to doing that to him. I mean, what kind of person is she?
Yes, I think one of the worst types to do something like that, because but Thomas Markle, especially what he's gone through with his health issues. I think when Harry said, "Oh, I've never met Meghan's father," and then he proceeds to make this decision to marry her and goes ahead with the wedding, I think Meghan realized that having Harry meet Thomas would mean that all these lies she had told him would come out.
Good point.
Right? That she had spun up this really victimized behavior, because what did he say about her very early on? He said his family was now the family for her that she'd never had, which made no sense when she has Doria, she has Thomas, she has her siblings. Why suddenly is it this, as if she's had this, she's lacked a family all this time? But I think she sold him this very victim-oriented behavior that he was saving her. He was this a knight in shining armor coming to save her. And she wanted to sell this narrative because I think he wanted to play that part. he wanted to save Diana 2.0, and she was letting him play out that fantasy. And Thomas would have mucked that all up by sharing just how feisty and independent and industrious and manipulative Meghan Markle really is, and that she's had such an upbringing of a lot of privilege. Honestly, growing up, she grew up in Woodland Hills. It's a great area of Los Angeles. She went to a private school. She's grown up on sets of popular TV shows. She's had a great childhood, but she spun such a tale for him. She didn't want anything mucking that up. That's what I think.
But how can she be so cold? How can she be so cold to, I mean, and you know what's incredible is that she has this ability, and tell me if this is part of narcissism too, that Harry goes on television and blames himself for the fact that Meghan Markle decided to cut off her father, trash him worldwide, and not talk to him. And said it's because of you, Harry. So Harry's blaming himself that she lost her father. I mean, is that typical that she's very manipulative, and clearly he's an idiot. I keep saying Harry's a dim-witted idiot, and I keep saying that he is the British evil Forrest Gump.
Well, I know Baggage Claim was answering, but I loved her answer. I do think that when you have someone like Meghan, I mean, who knows what she told Harry in those 7 months, 8 months, in that year. All of a sudden, to be able to have to cover all of those tracks, just like you said, Baggage Claim, to be able to cover that, she had to disconnect from her entire family. She had to. Yes. I mean, we can see, the thing is we see a lot of people will turn around and say, how do you know this? It's like, just take a look at their actions. I think Shaun would agree. I think all of us would agree. They keep repeating a pattern. The way she rolled out the jam. We go back to the jam because it's a recent big press item. Why? Because the people that she sent the jam to, half of them she doesn't know. Half of them she knew years ago. It's very similar to the wedding. Bringing in, Oprah. She didn't know Oprah. Oprah wanted an interview with her. She didn't know Idris Elba, George Clooney, the Beckhams. A couple of them knew Harry. That's it. So it's a networking event. And they all follow patterns. It's like, okay, she gets married, turns it into a networking event. Now she's rolling out a new product. So it's what? A networking event. And what's silly is you can see how amateurish it is. Because you should have a product today. You're going to have a slow roll PR campaign over a month, and what are the people who are interested going to go, where is it? It's not like a movie trailer where you're building up hype, where you're going, oh, wow, it's jam. That's it. Jam.
And also act like she's part of the Red Sea. 50 jars of jam. Like, she's part of the Red Sea. This woman is so below average that such a small, poorly executed, not even accomplishment, gets worldwide press. That these celebrities I mean, we saw Abigail Spencer rolling around the grass with that thing, and one of the pictures on the Daily Mail has the dog's butt.
Her. Yeah, Mamma Mia. They showed that. That's I was like, it was funny. Let's see if we have any questions from the chat. Fletcher, let's bring him up. Anastasia McGovern for $5. Harry doesn't need Meghan, so I don't understand why he's staying. He's clearly miserable. They haven't posted any recent pictures of the kids at all. I haven't seen any in, what was it, since Halloween? Shaun, you, anyone?
Yeah, Halloween. And
that picture someone took, they didn't post them up. Somebody took a picture of them when they were at that Monastery Halloween fair or something.
Remember that. But it's the back of the heads of the kids again.
Yes.
Next we have Lisa Bruning for $2. Why do you think the palace is protecting these two? Great question. Who wants to take that one?
I'll take that one. I think they're worried that if they go after them with all of the truth, that it'll really spurn up the sort of racist, race baiting debates that have been taking over a lot of the discourse in the UK. That there are a lot of people that believe that the royal family are racist. So I think any sort of, yes. And this is also this is how conniving Meghan really is too, that the reason she didn't postpone that Oprah interview is because she specifically wanted to do it while she was expecting, according to her timeline of like she's expecting, right? And she didn't do it at a minimal belly. She did it at a maximum belly. She did it so that if there was any rebuke rebuttal on anything she claimed, people could come out and say, look, you're harassing a woman who's expecting a child right after she talked about a miscarriage, right? So this is top level manipulation. And what you were saying, Paula, why does she not care about her father? Narcissists don't look at people as people. They look at them as tools to get what they want. So if you are past your expiration date where you could offer no value to me, as a narcissist, that person's at the door. They don't care. This is all transactional. She doesn't care about fatherly love. She doesn't have love for him. Narcissists don't love anyone. They love themselves above everybody else. And if they feign to love you, it's only because they can use that projection of love in their own vein. And look, I've dated a narcissist because I had a pattern of dating narcissists. I have worked with one narcissist, and I have a narcissist in my family. I have been through it. Like I have seen just what damage they're capable of doing, and it is incessant.
Yeah, I know. I married one. That was my first wife.
I just wanted to add something there too, because I just, the palace also, in for a pound, in for a penny. Is that how the saying, Shaun?
In for a penny, in for a pound.
In for a penny, in for a pound. They already covered up the birth thing. They've covered up a lot of things. The reason why they did the investigation of the bullying was because Valentine Lowe came out with that article. So he forced their hand, because Valentine Lowe is a very respected journalist. And he did that article before Meghan did that thing with Oprah. And Meghan said, oh, they want to shut me up. So the palace has covered up so much for them that, they have to continue until they are really put up against the wall, like Valentine Lowe. And we saw Jason Kanoff come out to the judge after everything, after his testimony had no value, that Meghan Markle had exchanged those emails with them, or the text messages and all those things, because that's when they are up against the wall. So the palace is going to continue protecting them, because had they exposed them from the beginning and said, no, we're not going to go along with this, the sort of crazy that Meghan is selling, we're not going to go along with that. So they wouldn't have anything to fear. But now Harry and Meghan feel very comfortable under the blanket and that's also manipulative, I think, Miss Baggage, right? That they manage to get people to go along with your crimes or your things. So you don't want to expose them, because if you expose them, you're exposed yourself. And the royal family has a lot more to lose than Harry and Meghan. Meghan Markle comes from the gutter. She's a mattress actress. Please.
I miss the days, when they used to put people in the Tower of London. It was so much easier. It's like, but Shaun, what do you think? It's like Baggage Claim, and Paula brought up a good point, but I didn't think the racism thing against the palace, because with the Meghans, would have any more weight after these years, because we've seen how they behave. You're not the palace, Harry and Meghan. So I didn't think about that. That would still have weight, but I guess it does.
Yeah, with the increasing waves of wokeness and the new generations, it has been masterfully manipulated by Meghan, weaponized by Meghan. Why they may be protecting them still, the question from Lisa referring to that. I think also that in the calculations of the palace is the possibility of the return of the prodigal son. So you can't really go all out after Harry, because he's going to come back at some point.
Right.
And then I'm just changing my battery. I see I've frozen, but I'll keep talking.
Yeah.
And then going back to what you said about narcissism, I mean, we've interviewed various narcissism experts, and the bottom line is they view people as resources. So deplete your resources, move on. Deplete your resources, move on. Get married to someone, move on. Get married to someone, move on. Burn your whole family, move on. That is top level narcissism right there. Like we said, evil behavior to put what Tom Markle and his dad and Samantha have gone through. So, yeah.
Well,
do you think that Harry has an expiration date, Baggage Claim? Or Doria Raglan?
I think they all do.
Yeah,
I think she's asking.
Yeah, I agree with you, George, that they all do. And I think Harry's expiration is almost up, But whatever I think he might be doing anything possible to hang on to the relationship, because one of your super chats, George, had asked, why hasn't Harry left Meghan? And I think it's because it's very hard for people to admit when they've done something wrong. He has burned every bridge in his life for the sake of this woman. He has gone after everybody. He has completely changed his personality. He's changed his home. He's just lost everything. And people are very, they would rather continue to do what they know to be wrong than admit that they're wrong. They'd rather stay on that path. Right?
Oh, I know. I agree with you completely. Like I said, I was married to a narcissist. And when I told her it was over, she tried just different levels. I mean, you're talking like, let's rekindle. It was one game after the other. And one of the comments she made last was, are you thinking about this? Do you want to be humiliated in front of your family? A divorce? I'm like, you really don't know me. I got tortured for a year. Hung up by chains. You think that's gonna shame me? I was like, again, good luck, long life, God bless. We're done. Tammy for $5. Paula, search the birth records with Meghan's niece's name. I have this weird suspicion she's the surrogate due to her statement.
That's a good thing. I don't need to put the details of the daughter. All I can say is request any children born out of Ashley. So I'm going to ask Samantha I think I know her last name. So I can ask the certificates to provide copy of any birth certificates born out of Ashley, because they can find it under the mother's name, because the mother names has to be reflected if she has any children. And it's just something that, that you said, baggage claim there about Harry and Doria having an expiration date. That on her second or first wedding to Trevor said the same thing that Harry said, that Meghan finally was getting the family that she never knew, that she never had. And Mr. Markle, because we did an interview with him, and he said that he went like, what? And he was in Jamaica there, because they got married in Jamaica. And he was like, what is he talking about? And the Raglan family, her cousin growing up, Sean Johnson, I think his name, just published an article that he said, I don't know what she was talking about. I mean, we were not millionaires, but we were really well off, and we had a lot of family. We used to go to their house, and we used to love going to Thomas Markle's house because it was a lot of fun. They had everything. I mean, the Raglan family is also starting to speak. And you know what? People, I understand, and I've always said, I understand that Meghan didn't want to invite the Markles for whatever reasons, but the Raglans,
very strange. You're right. Very strange.
I want to know, I'm dying to know this. Now we got to get through these shots. What is the end? Because I've studied narcissism for a year, but I cannot recall. What is the end of a narcissist? Like, what is their end road when they've burned through everybody? Do they come to a reflection point? In your experience, Shaun, or you baggage claim, like after they've been through Harry and fathers and mothers and friends and the list, like there must be a point. I know they have sociopathies, like where they have that disconnect with their feelings and everything is goal oriented. But even on a logical basis, they must come to a point where this keeps happening. They got to change.
Shaun, please.
I think they just slow down with age, but live fundamentally unhappy lives. I think the happiness they project, like you described on Instagram and the socials, is inversely proportional to what they're feeling inside. So they just jump from one person to another. It's completely soulless. And then as they get older, they slow down. But intrinsically, I mean, if you look at the root cause of it, there's usually been some kind of trauma or something that's happened in the childhood. And this narcissism has become a defensive shield, whereby the survival mechanism now is they just deplete people's resources, move on to the next one. But it is a soulless life to live, and I don't think that they can be reformed.
Okay.
Well, Harry and Meghan never accepts any responsibility. She said, "Oh, when I was as an actress, I was too white or too black. This is why they didn't like me, or it's always somebody else's fault." I don't think that she will ever, and for her to, I think she'll be more miserable, because she's gone from the top of the mountain and now she's back in the gutter. She's really literally back in the gutter, like before she took off to find a rich man. I don't think she'll be happy. I think she'll get more bitter, and she keep blaming more people, and she'll get harsher, I think, because I've seen this woman implode and it's not pretty.
No, I just wondered what the end of the road was for, like, after X amount of failures, a pattern emerges, and everybody, even on a survival basis, they're going to look at it and go, okay, I'm doing something wrong.
Yes. But their narcissistic exterior is so strong that any form of criticism cannot penetrate that. And that's what a lot of psychologists say, psychiatrists, that they're unable to treat narcissistic personality disorder. They're actually unable to treat it. BPD, which is borderline personality disorder, is a little easier to treat because borderline tends to be very narcissistic, but they have these intense seesaws where they go from excessive amount of narcissism to suddenly outwardly feeling very vulnerable. So they're considered vulnerable narcissists. So there are at least those periods where you can get through to them. But with narcissists, the facade is so strong, and everything that happens around them, normal people will say like, hey, what is my fault? Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I shouldn't. Look how much this other person has been hurt by my actions. Maybe I should change in some way. Narcissists can only perceive their own pain. So they never take that opportunity to think, maybe I've done something wrong. It's never like, it's always, I'm the victim. Look what this other person did to me. You know what Paula is saying, that even when she tosses out Thomas Markle, she puts the blame on Harry. Harry, you did this to me. My career is not going well because of you. My life is not good because of you. And he's constantly, because he's in this mental trap himself, having lost his mother, that I'm going to lose another woman in my life. He's just running probably from crisis to crisis to crisis, willing to do whatever possible to please this woman. That please, dear God, just be happy enough, right? And I think that's what keeps him coming back for more, is that he actually likes that pattern. He probably enjoys being in that type of pattern.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Can I ask you something, Baggage Claim? Because this is really, I've asked myself this question 1,000 times. How can this woman go and lie so publicly, and not only that, repeat that lie over and over in public forums, and people around her already know that she's lying and still enable her or don't call her out? The last time was in Texas at that Southwest by whatever it was, where Katie Couric, oh, Meghan, tell us about your soap story. That has been debunked. Her father's the one who organized the commercial. How can this woman, what do you think she's going through her head? Lying. I mean, I would be mortified. I would be mortified with the first lie that they catch me with. I wouldn't show my face, and I would apologize. I'm sorry, I misspoke. But this woman is like, keeps going on with the lie.
So I believe that narcissists that have this expiration date themselves. And I think it's about 2 to 3 years. And George, I know since you have such a deep experience with living with a narcissist, in that initial period, it's very hard to tell that a narcissist is what they really are, right? Because they sell the lies really well, and they're very effervescent and like bigger than life, and so you almost buy into it. They make you feel so special, and then it starts to fall apart. So it falls apart because of the inconsistencies. And what you're saying, Paula, like, she's speaking lies, people know they're lies, but she doesn't get pulled up on it. And it's because, even if you look at it with Meghan Markle, every 2 or 3 years, she has completely moved from one place to another, right? She's left. And she'll abandon everybody associated with that place, right? She abandoned everyone in Canada after she left there. Then she abandoned everyone in the UK. Then she moved to California. And it's like they're always on the run because people are starting to figure out their game. Now, when you go to somewhere like South by Southwest, people are not going to call her out on a public stage but you can see subtly. First of all, Katie Couric is a different type of person, but who's that wonderful supermodel who was also on stage?
Oh, Brooke Shields.
Brooke Shields kind of pulled her up, right? Because Meghan was talking about how victimized she is by social media and the comments. And Brooke Shields says, my daughter tells me, just don't look at the comments. Just don't look at the comments, right?
I didn't know she'd done that.
Yeah, and that was a little jab, right? Because she has to also think about all those women there have to think about how they're going to be looked if they come out and aggressively correct a woman like Meghan Markle and try to embarrass her, right? They're going to be looked at. All the haters, all the bots are now going to come rushing for them. They'll be in the line of sights at that. So that, Meghan also, she plays a very soft game as if she is so vulnerable and emotional. But in reality, she's walking with a big arsenal of bots ready to jump on the next person that she has in her sights. So
Correct.
that's sort of that deterrent that she has, right?
Yeah, but going so publicly, I understand that she moves from people to people, but these are lies that she hasn't just told one person here and then I forget about, like Jessica Mulroney. She went on Oprah and 99.99% were lies. Then she goes on another thing and 99%, and this is public, and now she's on a different level.
Right.
And because before, when she wasn't known, nobody cared about checking on her lies. But now,
but I think what Baggage Claim is saying is, Paula, it's the answer is the same for all of those instances. This is just something she does. It's a pattern she creates, whether she believes it. It's like when I was married, 6 months, the first 6 months, before we were married, the first 6 months we were dating, and then another year and a half, another dating, it was like perfect. You literally thought she made me feel like I was king of the earth. And as soon as there were starting to be cracks in the facade, I started noticing things. But it triggered me, a part of me, because of my childhood, to want to be the white knight. So I'm like, it's okay. There's something wrong here. I want to go out and save her. And that's why it took 3 years. But it's funny that Baggage Claim was saying their life cycle is about 2 or 3 years, because that's pretty much after dating, engagement, marriage. It's 3 years. So I think Baggage Claim is frozen right now. So we're going to pick up with the rest of the Super Chats. Fletcher, bring up the rest of them. We got Sheridan for £2. He obviously loves nachos, cheese.
I agree.
I love you, Sheridan. That was brilliant.
100%. There's something going on there, and it ain't apple pie. That's not kosher. What's going on there? I'm sorry.
Hold on. Here she is. Oh, did you hear what I was saying when you froze?
I heard the initial part where you were telling you how you feel in the beginning. I'm so sorry. This has never happened. And today,
No, it happened to me before. I completely understand. I know how frustrating. It's like, remember, I think it was the first time we did it. Remember, my screen kept going black. I was like, I just need to keep talking. No, what I was saying is I agree with you. It's like from the time that we dated until we got engaged, there was a perfect 6 or 9 months where she made me feel like a king. Then I started seeing little chips here and there. And as I was catching her and things, I was like, I would go back to I trust her. So I'm going to take what she says, but I'm kind of like the trust but verify for, it's like, I trust you, but I got to see it. And after you've proven it, then I'm like, cool, I trust you. And we had passed that point. So I trusted, but I started seeing things were out of order. The problem was when I caught her, instead of turning around and lying about it, she's like, you caught me. I have a problem. And so that triggered kind of like this white knight. I will help you. Save you. So that's what extended it for me to about the 3-year mark. And when you were saying they have this lifespan of 2 or 3 years, I was like, that makes sense. Okay, Fletcher, we'll bring it up. Anastasia McGovern for $5. Don't let the last name fool you. I'm 100% Greek, just like George, and there is nobody I know that does that. Talking about the little hand and the smile thing. Yep, never saw that in Greece.
It's disgusting, And did you see that? And did you see that thing? We didn't talk about the rapper and Harry being named on that lawsuit, because they amended the lawsuit, but they didn't remove his name.
Let's hold on to that. Let me get through these first, and then we'll get back to that because we're going to be wrapping up soon. 1 second. RTIF for $10. Did anyone hear from Lady C where American Riviera ripoff strawberry jam really came from? Complete with unlabeled jars. Sean, have you heard?
Haven't heard, no.
Baggage Claim, Paula, anyone?
I saw her video about this today, yeah.
Go ahead. I thought that she wanted to call it American Royal Orchard, but she was not allowed to use it. Apparently, there was a to and fro with the palace, because remember, Meghan said that the queen didn't own the word royal, but the queen is dead. So, but apparently, so there was American Royal Orchard. That was her first
crack at it.
Yeah,
that's what she wanted.
Yeah, so she ended up with American Riviera.
Horrible name, by the way. I don't know what marketer came up with that, or if they did or she did. Like that. Sheridan for £5. Excuse me, I'm British Paula, and I always hold the hands of my 7 girlfriends affectionately. I love Sheridan. I hope to see you Saturday. Philippa Hussein sent a £2 super sticker which says go. Thank you, Philippa. And we got Macaulay Gallagher for £5. Kalispera Yorgo. I will be traveling to Crete on Tuesday to celebrate the Greek Easter. Kalopaska to you, Macaulay. And God, I was in Chania a few years ago. I love Crete. And I think that's it. So hold on. We got Jilly999 for £5 super sticker. What is the super sticker? I didn't see that. I'll find out what it is. And we have another one. Is it from RPN? Fletcher, bring up the next one. Oh, Fred Witherow for £2. Please say hello to Lisa Bruning from Sean's chat. Sean, Lisa Bruning.
Oh, thanks, Fred. Cheers, Lisa.
Wonderful. We have next Syndek. The caption guy is awesome. Syndek is my brother, my editor. He is the caption guy. So thank you, Syndek, for $2 for doing a brilliant job. He also put the intros together, the outros. RPN photo for $5. George, you've nailed the Meghans perfectly. She wanted American royal family. I still think they do. I think Baggage Claim nailed it. I think Paula nailed it, and Shaun. I think right now they want to kind of be a rival royal family, an American royal family that rivals the British royal family. I just don't think it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to go anywhere. I mean, come on. Let's be serious. When you're selling jam and dog bowl covers and bird seed and I mean, come on, what's she going to do next? She's going to have, I'm selling a grievance candle. It'll hiss and whine when you light it. I mean, it just doesn't work.
Well,
She's going to look for a savior next, I think. She's going to look for a billionaire who's going to finance her run for politics. And Harry's going to end up in Nacho's loving arms. That's my prediction.
Not if Harry has anything to say about it. And I don't mean you know that Kelly Rowland said that Meghan was born royal, that she didn't need the royal family.
What?
Yes, Kelly Rowland, when she was defending, you remember that Baggage Claim? When she's born royal. She didn't need to marry Harry to be royal. I'm like, wow. And I did a video and I even phoned Thomas Markle Jr. and we laughed about it and with his father. And it's like, are you part of royalty somewhere? Because Kelly Rowland said that Meghan didn't need to marry a Harry because she was born royal. I'm like,
it's the silliness also of modern culture where everybody, you're a queen, slay, you're this, you're that. It's everything's about propping each other up in the most insincere way possible. Everybody's just obsessed with that. I find it so strange.
I finally found that I couldn't find the full clip that I wanted to share with y'all before we start to wrap up, but I had put it in my last video. I just wanted to share. It's a funny one from the Prince show, but it's about the couple. Where'd it go? Hold on. I just think everybody would love it.
See you again.
We've never met.
Hold on.
Lisa Rinna, so nice to see you again.
We've never met.
Oh, why do I feel like I know you?
Well, I've been on TV for 50 years, so maybe it's that. Cute baby. What's his name?
Meghan?
Archie.
There is no. It's like I said, they have several clips which are just hilarious. I want to put them all together.
Love it.
God, time has flown by. It's been amazing. Thank you for all coming. Let's go around the table and tell everybody where your channel is, where you're at, where they can find you, what you have coming up next. We'll start with Paula.
Oh, okay. You can go to my channel, Paula M channel on YouTube. I also have Paula M channel on Facebook. Facebook. I'm not very techie, so yeah. But thank you for watching and whatever, So thank you.
Thank you for joining us, Shaun.
Oh, thank you, George. I'd just like to thank Paula and Ron. They're running a lot of royal shows on our channel, and they're doing phenomenally. We got the Royal Mess every Friday night, and now almost daily broadcast. So Paula's putting serious hours in, so I salute you for that. If people want to find us, my channel's just under my name. And if you're interested in baby Ziggy, we're now doing live streams, breakfast with me, Ziggy, and my partner Jen. Nothing serious like this. It's just breakfast banter, talking to the people in the chat, and it's just an innocent bit of fun to contrast all the crazy stuff that's going on in the world. And huge thank you, George, for inviting me on tonight.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Oh, thank you for coming back. I always love having you.
Yeah, thank you, George. Thanks for having us. This was a great stream. It was great to meet you, Paula and Shaun. It was great to stream with you again. And my name is Baggage Claim. If any of you watching are interested in learning more about narcissism, I have done a long series on analyzing specifically Meghan Markle as her and how her narcissistic traits have manifested. It's something that I decided to do to recover from my narcissistic relationship because I didn't understand what had happened to me until I actually dug into what Meghan Markle was doing. So that sort of was very cathartic and therapeutic for me. So I thank Meghan Markle for giving me that example to help me move on.
Oh,
myself. Yeah,
that's a positive. At least something. I mean, I always like to look to find the bright side in everything. If something good can come out of it for anybody, that's phenomenal. I want to share with everyone. Thank you for coming. I love having you back. We got to do this more often, not every 2 months, sooner, because it's a good time. But I want everyone in the chat to know y'all are amazing. We have an amazing producer. We also have incredible moderators. I want to thank Fletcher Williams and Lord Thoth. And I want you all to know, for your memberships, your super chats, they really help us. They're our rocket fuel to keep us going. This Saturday at 2 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. UK time is going to be a membership stream. And then Sunday at the same time, we're going to have our regular Slayer Nation live. So until next time, to win every battle, all you got to do is stay true to yourself. Just remember that we never bow down. We never bend the knee. Always forward.